So, like 3 months ago, I had an idea, and it's 3 months later, and I'm still not done with it. But here's what I got so far. I went and picked up about a yard of fake fur, and my original idea was like, hey, I'm just gonna throw some Plasti Dip on the backing, and then the back, instead of looking like this cheap fabric, will look like actual leather. And I tried with a test piece and it worked really well. Like it looked great. But then in reality, I got a full can of Plasti Dip and I put it on just under half, and it's still a little too thin. Um, it definitely wasn't thick enough. So, I mean, it would probably take like 4 or 5 cans to do this. Now, that being said, I think 2 cans of properly thinned down Plasti Dip could cover a yard of fabric. And I don't think it would give you a realistic leather texture, but I think the backing would be changed enough that it would hang a little more realistically and it would look better than the kind of standard backing of fake fur. After I kind of had that realization with the Plasti Dip, I had another idea, and that is to use caulking and spread it really thin over the entire back of the piece. This is something wargamers do to make textured battlefield terrain. I went to my local hardware store and they sadly did not have brown caulk, which I know exists because I use it at work, but the store I was at didn't have it. So I bought some black and some white and a little bit of bronze, and then I mixed them all together. I was kind of hoping I'd get a darker brown, but I kind of just got this weird, weird black, white, and brown mixture. That doesn't, the color wise, it doesn't look great. I think I'm going to go online and I'm going to order exactly what I want. I'm going to get a brown flat and maybe a tan flat and then mix those together. And I think that would be awesome. But even as is, like, the texture on this is pretty good. Caulking, when you bust it out in huge amounts like this, it smells terrible. I always forget about that whenever I use it, and I was not ready. I didn't have good ventilation in my house, so I did a kind of rush job on this. But some of the texture came out really good. Some areas are a little too heavily textured. Some aren't textured enough. You can see a couple brush strokes where I was spreading the material. But I think if I did a little bit more prep next time, I could definitely have a nice, like, 1 yard piece of fabric that looks like brown leather on the back and fur on the front, which is a pretty nice option for probably like a $25 project. For something comparable would probably be like $80-$90 fur, depending where you got it from. But here's some of the texture. Like I said, like I overdid it in some places, and some places were just, they're a lot thicker than others. I should have done a much better job spreading this out and making my materials last. But like I said, I was in a rush and it smelled really bad. And of course, my roommates walked in while I was doing it, and that standard conversation. I'm like, this is the worst thing you've ever done in the apartment. Happened. I'm really sick of hearing that one, guys. Yeah, don't blue tint your armor in the oven because it fills the house with smoke if there's any residual oil left on the armor. So yeah, the more you know. If anyone has any suggestions on how they think I can improve this, I'd love to hear them. If you really want like an in-depth explanation of like how to do this like kind of caulking thing I did, look up DIY wargaming mats. There'll be a bunch of YouTube tutorials on doing it right. I don't have a good one to link in the comments. I'm sorry. Like I said, this is just something knowledge I had from just being a nerd who watches way too much YouTube. But yeah, like I said, I'd love to hear thoughts, opinions, things like that on this. If anyone else has thought about like how to back fake fur so it looks real, I'd love to hear that as well. All right, thanks for your time, guys. Bye.